Boo boo doo 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 doo. Doo 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 doo. Boo doo 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 doo. Doo 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 doo. Welcome back to Tablet Talks. This is your friendly neighborhood Hokage, Tehuti Trismegistus. We are back in segment 14. All right, we're hitting milestones in Tablet Talks. This is our longest one yet. It makes sense. The third one could have been right, like 36 parts, just based on how long Danielle wanted to keep that tablet going. If we really wanted to give all of that tablet coverage, it would have been like 36 parts at least. And these parts are, like on average 40 to 50 minutes, right? So, whoa. Instead, we have something much more interesting. It's actually about my story. It's actually at least grounded in much more truth. Whereas Daniel's tablets of mine is really just a transmission full of overtly abundant flowery language only meant to get you lost. And it's not even based in like my story at least. So what's nice about the Emerald Tablets of Thoth the Atlantean, translated by M. Doreal, which is really a bunch of translations in addition to his that he's brought together, means that it's a lot of truth. It's a lot of weaponized truth. So we're seeing a lot of truth in here. Like this is the first tablet that talks about the number lords, which I'm talking about this number stuff because this number stuff is everything. I'm the god of numbers because wisdom is numbers and wisdom isn't numbers. I'm just correlating it because wisdom is knowing that numbers are only linearly, logically blocking out how the spirit moves. And when I say the spirit moves, I mean the soul, because the soul is what the spirit looks like, and then light is what the soul looks like, or the body is what the soul looks like. So your soul is what your spirit looks like, and then your body is what your soul looks like. And your spirit needs to create a soul in order to experience life as a body. So this is where we get the unconscious, the subconscious, and the conscious world. So and I feel like in every every tablet talk, I just start going off on true spiritual facts that should be in these tablets. Like this is like whatever. It's 4:50 a.m. So hey, thanks for bearing with me. All right, let's hibernate. If you want to bear with me so hard, let's hibernate about it. Get those claws out. Let's hibernate. It's cold out here. Honestly, even the things that I say that don't make sense when I'm super loopy will only make sense if you make it make sense because the spirit always finds a way. So that's what we're doing with this tablet series, right? Decoding and decolonizing all of the lies that they're pushing in these tablets, and they're using my truth to push it. And then, as the actual writer of these artifacts, I am then able to give the true perspective that is applicable and relatable for us, of course. I mean, there's so much to talk about, right, in the universe. So, and even just especially so much, like I've written so much to leave in this reality for people to level up with, and it's been stolen by these Freemasonic light white supremacists. So it's literally just you gotta, man. I'm learning. Like I guess it was kind of naive if I'm really about to sit here and reflect at 4:50 a.m. Kind of naive to think that I could like leave a tablet and leave writings that, even though they are whole inside of themselves, the idea that people won't just manipulate them and use languages to change them, like it's just, I have to keep updating it because like the wisdom is never going to change. The point of all of life, okay? Wisdom is emotion, knowledge is logic. All right? So When you think of knowledge, all knowledge comes from wisdom. So wisdom is knowing that all knowledge is made up. So anytime someone tries to tell you that this is what it is, and they try to hammer facts into you, you have true wisdom when you know that you are infinitely free. So when you know you're infinitely free, no one can make you believe something that takes your freedom away. This is what true wisdom is. This is why white supremacy will not release my tablets, because they can't actually enslave you to support the constant genocide of indigenous peoples throughout the globe. Let's continue. Actually, I'm about to pack. You okay if I pack a bowl? You're happy if I pack a bowl. You're elated? All right. We didn't need to get elated about it, but I appreciate it. Let's get a little elated about packing a bowl. Um, yeah, life is very beautiful, okay? So it's important to know that you created your life. Like, you created the circumstances, you created the situations that you find yourself in. And if you didn't want to be in the life that you had, you would kill yourself. And this is literally where spirits know that they didn't make a body to just kill themselves. This is why suicide is so unnatural. Like, it's unnatural. You're not going to see it really in nature. Right? Like, you're not. You'll honestly, you won't. You really just won't. Like, animals kill each other, right? But it's very counterintuitive. It literally defeats the purpose of nature to kill oneself. But I get it, because that's just like how things look. It's always we can infinitely get lost in light. So again, this is wisdom. Wisdom is knowing that when all spirits are truly free, when you know that all spirits are free, then you know that everyone is really creating the circumstance for themselves. And that's where you can't force anyone to be something that they're not. It's not wise to invent a religion where you feel like you need to force everyone to believe in it, because you need to make them scared about how they're not following your rules, because they don't know that they're created by some other god that's better than them. Any kind of system that needs to go out of its way to make other people believe in it is sus, as we say down here. It's, yeah, we don't need that. All right. So this is how you know that you are the hottest commodity in the universe. If you can hear my voice, you are the infinite God that everybody wants. Everyone wants your attention. Everyone wants your energy, because you are that awesome. Your imagination is that dope. This is what it's like to shine your light in the universe. The more you shine your light as a star, the more spirits who can't shine their own light are going to project their light at you, their little light that they have, which is their water in general. So they don't feel like externalizing themselves. So they'll externalize themselves just enough to connect with you, because it makes their internal world feel better. Thing is, if they're feeling better, you're feeling worse. So that's where whatever they're getting from the interaction, they're taking from you, because now it's getting into worship energy, because they don't know that they're an infinite individual. They feel like they can only be infinite when they're with you, which means that they're consuming your infinity and thus draining your energy. And now we've got a vampire on our hands, and really, in a cosmic sense, a black hole that's just sucking in light. And it's sucking in light because a black hole is a light projection. It's all light. So it's like literally projecting just enough to suck in light, because it's not actually whole inside of itself to project something and actually appear full. So it turns into a black hole. It's actually holy now. It's empty because it was not full. If it was full, it'd be shining a light. So, very important to watch who you connect with, because connections are everything. This is nature. All right. So fire is individuality and water is connection. All spirits desire to express their individuality. So this is where we get zero turns into one. Zero is your nothingness, your infinite nothingness. Everyone is a zero. And if we have infinite zeros together, mathematically, we know it's still zero. So that's where every individual zero can turn into a one. And that's just having an imagination. So the moment you have any imagination, any idea, any light at all, that's the first flame. That's fire. That is one individual nothingness, one individual spirit expressing itself and expressing its infinity. So like now that's infinite transformation. Like our imaginations can constantly grow. Yet there's so many things we can't imagine, right? Literally, like you as an individual can't imagine what I can imagine as an individual. And then that's where we literally never know what's going on in other people's imaginations ever. It's impossible. It's truly impossible. Like you can't look at somebody and know what's going on in their imagination. You just can't. Any guess at it is a projection based on your imagination. This is the point of fire. Flame can't touch. So imagination is infinite. Imagination, though, is a finite representation of infinity. So that's where we get the first thought. And from there, fire, one, becomes water. Because that desire to express its individuality, a spirit can't be an individual alone. Like a spirit needs to be alone, needs to love being alone to be an individual. It needs to love being alone to be an individual. But a spirit can't be an individual alone. So that's the point of life isn't created inside of fire. That's then the Christian idea weaponizing this of hell. Because spirits hate being alone so much, they already feel like they're in hell. So when they create a body, it's easy for a religion here to convince them that they're going to go to hell when they die, because they are, because they're going to go back home. And they're creating a lot of problems at home as a spirit. So they'd rather create problems here. And if they can use a religion to feel safe enough to create problems here, they'll be more than happy to spread genocide and war across this beautiful planet that we made to connect and balance and thus communicate. So this is literally why water is connection and life comes out of connection, because when a spirit desires to be an individual, it then needs to connect with other individuals. This is a paradox. All of life is created then by individuals expressing their individuality together. So now we have teamwork. So this is the point of everyone has their individual fire. And from there, based on our imagination, based on our frequency, we cool down our fire with our opposite and harmonious imagination. So that would be all of our own demons. So we oppose ourselves. This is then the point of the mind. This is the point of the soul. So we are all our own universe. We all create our own problems, or else we wouldn't have solutions and we wouldn't just have infinity in our brain. So this is why we have demons, because a demon is just the opposing thought to your original thought. You're just going to have that dual. So that's where water would be that opposing thought that is necessary. The only way you can be an individual is to join a collective. And no individual would ever join a collective if they're lost in being an individual. So this is then where we have balance, but really the spirit is like more feminine, because everyone is nothing. Everyone's the same, because everyone is infinite. It's just then people feel differently about their infinity. And then people think differently. And then people use their lifetimes differently. And then that just goes forever. So the warfare is for so many entities, making spirits feel like they're a body and detach from their spirit, get lost in light, believe that they're literally just what they can see. So then these spirits who know that there's way more than what you can see, can control what you can see, and then you're lost in what you can see. And that would be virtual reality. And just like the point of this Freemasonic society and like European life progressing to virtual reality through the Industrial Revolution and the genocide of indigenous peoples and like putting heavy metals into everything and like poisoning constantly, and just making people believe that the future of health is metal in general, like AI cybernetic arms, when literally these people just need to get more connected to water and fast, because there is no problem with the human body until they start using it improperly. But it's like a society that's forcing you to use your body improperly is only going to teach you that it's not the society's fault for using your body improperly, but it's actually your fault. They're crazy. This is the narcissism. So this is how a government that desires to be an individual so hard amongst collectives becomes toxically masculine, because they're willing to lie. They're willing to use logic in any way to do what they want. And this is then where you get the concept of just like evil. Because that's basically evil, using logic to fulfill all your desires. Because now inside of nature, which is all water based, you are only being fire, which means you're only killing the environment. And the only way that nature can survive is if you leave, if someone kills you, or if you kill yourself, if your fire is quelled. So this is the issue with desire. So life is a balance of a desire to be an individual and a desire to be the collective, or a desire to connect. So when you desire to connect, you can't have any individuality. That's what it means to be water, or be like just in your darkness, because now you're just emotionally reactive to all the lights in front of you instead of stabilizing your own. So they're all getting powered, like they're all getting the results that they want from having you react with your emotion to them. That just felt like I just wanted to break that down real quick, because that feels important right now in terms of hammering in how fire is individuality. Fire is who you are when you're alone. Water is your collective. Water is who you are when you're with others. And life is only created when spirits desire to go from being alone to connecting with spirits who resonate with who they are when they're alone. And this is how we get the astral realm. And like everything is then connected by nothing. And it's just like light is what that looks like. So numbers, I brought up numbers. We'll just wrap it up with numbers here before we start reading. Numbers are a system. Like we can imagine different numbers, but for the sake of like, I say like these are the numbers and everything, like for relatability, like it makes sense. The point of the spirit, anytime infinite spirits desire to connect, they have to use these elements, basically. This is like our words for it. They have to use elements in this way to connect so they can do whatever they want together. So wisdom is knowing that everything is made up out of a certain algorithm, a certain system of how infinity collaborates with itself to make life happen. So there's a strong balance in there, because it's like not a full system, but it really does look the same, and it's just like consistently the same, and like it becomes nature. And this is where like we have nature. So nature is water, like literally, like all realms and realities. You're not going to find a world that isn't created by spirits desiring to connect with other spirits. You literally cannot. It's impossible. So this is where we're just like at the heart of truth. This is the point of truth, is the emotion that powers all reality. Like it's what we can all resonate on. So this is the truth. Spirits, when they're alone, cannot be observed. If a spirit wants to be alone, it will not create a body for you to observe it. So this is where water has to be life. Anything you can observe is igniting its fire into the water that all the other spirits are connected to. So all the other spirits, right? So anytime you're in water, it's spirits using their imagination to connect with everyone else's imagination, which then looks like reflecting, and now they're just like all formless. And then we would get air by igniting the original imagination into that body of water, and that's what a star looks like. Because now on the other side, it's like external. So it's like invisible, boom, external. And that's like the Big Bang or whatever. Now you have chi. And then when that settles down, that's the infinite logic of Earth and how we practicalize and stabilize life in the way we communicate. Because you're not going to find a realm where it's not communication. Like it's connection and then communication. These are the two things that power all of life. Like this is like what life is. And it's all coming out of the imagination of spirits who are making life. So then that's where we get four. Logic is now that extra, which is the 5-cycle reality or whatever. That is really the desire to express the individuality. So all of that, right? Like spirits, literally, if they're going to express their individuality together, which is like the ultimate balanced desire, really the ultimate desire, spirits expressing their individuality together with other spirits that they resonate with and can recognize, then you're definitely going to have to reflect and connect and turn into water together, and then ignite your imagination so you can actually communicate, and that communication actually builds the worlds that you want to build. That's wild. That like I haven't started reading this at all, and we are 22 minutes in. Comedy. Let's get in here after I hit this. Law. This is my art, my life. I can do what I want. That's hilarious. It's just literally, I don't know, whatever, a time thing. This feels important to put out. So I'm sure you're appreciating it. The spirit definitely doesn't have me saying it for no thing. And if it does, I love no thing. Yeah, that was just 22 minutes of realness. So we can now get into like 22 minutes of lostness and not get lost, right? I saw man's beginning and learn from the past that nothing is new. So yes, that pissed me off in the last segment. Um, oh, but hold up. That's so funny. That actually slaps. Nothing is new. Because spirit is new. Nothing is spirit. So if you were to like make it work, it's right there. Like spirit is new. Like absolutely. The spirit is always new. It's always a new thing. Like for sure. Like nothing is new. But obviously the way that we've learned English, the context of everything and why I have to do this in this way, I certainly was taught to think this way because this is the systemic, this was the point, to think of nothing as a negative thing and not attribute it to spirit at all. And then that's where a phrase like nothing is new makes people, is meant to make people feel like everything already exists. Like that's the point. Even though like nothing is new, it's wild, it's true. If you know that nothing is spirit, you literally say spirit is new, nothing is new. Dope. But the fact that we know they're trying to hammer in, the fact is they're trying to hammer in that everything already exists. That's what they want to say here. Like energy cannot be created or destroyed type stuff. Literally to trap you in a simulation. We were forced to learn that in school to be considered smart. I saw man's beginning and learn from the past nothing is new. Oh man, seek to learn the pathway that leads through the spaces that are formed in time. Forget not, O man, with all of your seeking, that light is the goal you seek to attain. Whack, search for the light on your pathway, and ever for you the goal shall endure. Let not your heart turn ever to darkness. Let your soul shine with light, a sun on the way. Know that eternal brightness shall ever find your soul hidden light. Never fettered by bondage or darkness, it ever shines forth, a sun of the light. I, though hidden in darkness, your soul, a spark of the true flame, exists. This is so wrong. Be one with the greatest of all lights. Find at the source the end of your goal. There's no end goal. You are the goal. Keep creating for infinity and beyond. This is so whack. Light is life. Okay, well, again, this is logically true. Because life is details. Life is thought. All right? So then that's where death is emotion. And the spirit is then death. And the spirit wants to live. So that's why then the spirit's constantly running away from death. AKA thoughts are constantly running away from emotions. AKA men are sort of then running away from women. And by running away, we're going to say fear, because in this case, women are vibrations, are feelings that men desire to ignore, yet need. So they literally need women, but they want to ignore women at the same time. And it makes no sense at all. But this is just how like the spirit works when it like desires to be life so much. It desires to be man so much that it's lost in that. So it doesn't actually know how to love itself and love its own emotions. So it can't really love the emotions of others or be empathetic and connect with others in any way. And then those are where you actually get toxic masculinity. Light is life, for without the great light, nothing can ever exist. You're right. Not the great light. You are the great light, but just great lights. Light without light. You're the great light. All right. Whatever. Nothing can ever exist. Know that in all forms matter, the heart of light always exists. I, even though bound in a darkness, inherent light always exists. Once I stood in the halls of Amenti and heard the voice of the lords of Amenti, sang in tones that rang through the silence, words of power, mighty and potent. They chanted the song of the cycles, the words that opened the path to beyond. I saw the great path open and looked for an instant into the beyond. I saw the movements of the cycles, vast as thought of the source could convey. I knew then that even infinity is moving on to some unthinkable end. What else would infinity be? What a lame way to write. Even infinity is moving on. Oh? You're so smart. They chanted the song of the cycles, the words that opened the path, looked the path, and then instant into the beyond, saw the movement of the cycles, as vast as the thought the source could convey. Oh, yeah, this is wrong. They're straight up making things up with my name. So like they're literally like making up that like I'm only great because like I'm enrolled in a government and I'm an initiate in a government, basically. Like I'm just one of many initiates. That's what makes me so awesome, because they're pandering to Freemasons, they're pandering to religions in general, they're pandering to the idea that you can, instead of actually being a true infinite individual, join this collective and shine your light here. And this is where you'll be an individual as part of us, instead of you being part of yourself. You don't need to be part of yourself. So they're only pushing my story like, oh yeah, Thoth is great because he's part of this thing. And that thing was telling him about how everything's connected to source. That's crazy. Wrong. Man. Let's chill, actually. Let's chill. Oh, snap. Yes, it is late, bro. It's actually early. Yes. Yes, we're gonna stay up. I'm delirious. It's one of those times again. Once I stood in the halls of Amenti and heard the voice of the lords of Amenti. Yeah. I saw the cosmos as order and part of a movement that extends to all space. A party. If there's anything the cosmos is, it's a party, bro. Straight up. We'll say that right now. It's bumping. Yo, we got a vibe. Wherever you are, I promise, it's a vibe. We got a vibe for your spirit. We can match your vibe anywhere in the universe. We got it. We got simulations popping off all the time. We love to build worlds. Trust. Just for spirits to come play in. This is the whole point. Colonizers going to colonize. So we just got to keep building. All right? And then just learn. We're leveling up for sure. It is a party. A party of an order of orders. Now, that's where whatever orders, look, of individuals. It's just that as individuals, we have to ground our individuality. That's what a government is. And really, it's a government is like almost the negative form of it, because a government is governing the minds of people. So that's immediately about mind control. So a government is already intently on the way to mind control versus, well, I mean, a tribe kind of hits. Even a collective. There's so many different words that I'm not about to conjure up right now. The point of government is governing the minds, govern the mental state of everyone who believes that they are working for them. So then that's where, again, it's all spirits are creating life just on a vibe. So you have to vibe with that government to believe in it, right? So everyone who vibes with genocide and killing indigenous peoples vibes with the United States for whatever reason. And that's where it's like a spectrum thing, where it's like, why? I knew that when in words are power, I saw the wheeling of cycles like vast circles across the sky. I knew that when all that has being is growing to meet yet another being in a far-off grouping of space and of time. I knew then that in words are power to open the planes that are hidden from man. That even in words lies hidden the key that will open above and below. Hearken now, man, to this word I leave with you. Use it, and you shall find power in its sound. Say the word, Zin Uru, and you shall find power. Understand that man is of light, and light is of man. This is lost. It's funny, like, the idea of giving you a word. So, like, literally, man, it's just, everything's a ritual, all right? So it's like, it's very powerful to get a spirit in a state of having been taught a language and then thinking that communicating with this language is natural. So they don't perceive it as someone else's ideas. And they thus then don't perceive it as any sort of impingement on the freedom of their spirit, when it like actually just fundamentally is. That's like what light is overall. So that's where, when you're already like in that state that whatever language you're speaking is natural, it is so easy to then like just be told to utter a word. And you think like, oh, okay, if I utter this word, I'll naturally get strong. But it's like you were artificially put in this situation. So that word is artificially given to you to just siphon energy, and it's somehow connected to something else that is leveling up and doing its thing with your soul, like doing whatever, because we can't like go that far, with you calling a word and like constantly putting your belief into this idea when you've already been this deeply indoctrinated on this system. Listen, O man, and hear a mystery, stranger than all that lies neath the sun. Know, O man, that all space is filled by worlds within worlds. Oh, facts. I, one within the other, yet separate by law. Facts. Law is light, so separate by illusion. Illusion is cool. Once in my search for deep buried wisdom, I opened the door that bars them from man. I called from the other planes of being, one who is fairer than the daughters of men. I called her from out of the spaces to shine as a light in the world of men. I used the drum of the serpent. I wore the robe of the purple and gold. I placed on my head the crown of silver. Around me, the circle of cinnabar shone. I raised my arms and cried the invocation that opens the path to the plains beyond. I cried to the lords of the signs in their houses, lords of the two horizons, watchers of the treble gates. You stand one at the right and one at the left, as the star rises to his throne and rules over his sign. Dark Prince of Arulu, open the gates of the dim hidden land, and release her whom you keep imprisoned. Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye, dark lords and shining ones. By their secret names, names I know and can pronounce, hear ye and obey my will. I then lit my circle with flame and called to her in the space plains beyond. Daughter of light, return from Arulu. 7 times and 7 times I have passed through the fire. Food I have not eaten, water I have not drunk. I call you from Arulu, from the realms of Urkashal. I summoned you, Lady of Light. Then before me rose the dark figures, the figures of the lords of Arulu. They parted before me, and forth came the Lady of Light. Free was she now from the lords of the night, free to live in the light of the earth's sun, free to live as a child of the light. Hear me and listen, O my children. Magic is knowledge. Wrong, and is only law. Wrong. Dude. Be not afraid of the power within you. I would say magic is wisdom. Okay? Because literally, again, like, knowledge is made up. Knowledge is light. Wisdom is darkness. So magic is done in the dark. That's all the occult stuff. That's real magician stuff. And then you bring it to the light. So knowledge would be what magic looks like. And then really, I mean, of course, again, that's all created from spirit. We got our 3. It's going to be 3. Free was she now from the lords of the night, free to live in the light of the earth's sun, free to live as a child of the light. Yeah, what are they doing? Hear me and listen, O my children. Magic is knowledge and is only law. Be not afraid of the power within you, for it follows law, as do the stars in the sky. Right. So this is a whole ritual thing, and honestly, I'm not even about to like get super deep in here because devil is in the details. But all of that is leading up to making people lost about magic, because I would never say that. I would never talk about magic this way, clearly. Listen, my children, and follow my teaching. Be ever a seeker of light. Shine in the world of men all around you, a light on the path that shall shine among men. Follow and learn of my magic. Know that all force of yours, if you will it. All force is yours, if you will it. Whoa. Fear not the path that leads to knowledge, but rather shun the dark road. What? Fear not the path that, but shun the dark. What does that mean? Well, okay, like evil, whatever. Don't take the consent of others. Don't infringe upon the consent of others. That's the dark road, if anything. Oh man. Light is yours for the taking. Cast off the fetters, and you shall be free. Know that your soul is living in bondage, fettered by fears that hold you in thrall. Open your eyes and see the great sunlight. Be not afraid, for all is your own. Fear is the lord of the dark Arulu, for he who has never faced the dark fear. To he who has never faced the dark fear. Fear is the lord of the dark Arulu, to he who has never faced the dark fear. Okay. I know that fear has existence, created by those who are bound by their fears. Shake off your bondage, O children, and walk in the light of the glorious day. Never turn your thoughts to the darkness, and surely you shall be one with the light. Man is only what he believes, a brother of darkness or a child of the light. Well, bro, see, this is so insane. And they're literally saying a brother of darkness. So they hate darkness. Again, they're vilifying emotion. They're vilifying black people. And then they are putting on a pedestal, a style of the pedestal, a pedestal worshiping white people, aka light, and being all like, or, you know, be a child of light, which is good, and that's the desire. And darkness is the anti-desire, it's the bad. Like, there's bad. So they're literally like just judgment. And it's like, only like, what is this? That like, it's literally like almost fluff. You know, like they're not telling you what these words mean, almost, really. Like, not really. So it's really up to you to look at this and be like, oh, okay, there's darkness, which is evil. And this is why my first question of Cosmic Conversations was literally, how does one transmute dark into light? And I was like, oh, snap, that's not how it works. I mean, you focus on one thought because darkness is your emotion, and then a thought is a light is a hyper-specific emotion. But like, clearly that was just showing that people view darkness as like some evil negative force that needs to get like turned into something good, because everyone desires good. But it's like, this is all logic, bro, because like you had to be taught what like good and bad is, and like now you're just lost in the ideas that you can only operate to communicate with everyone in, and that's hell. Never turn your thoughts to the darkness, and surely you shall be one with the light. Wild. See, your darkness is your emotion. They're literally saying, never turn your thoughts to your emotion. Anything you can imagine is you. Like, this is the fact. And the point is that none of our inner imaginations can touch, but we can project our souls, which we created from our imaginations, into these bodies, which we created to then connect with other bodies in worlds, so that then we can all expand our imaginations together based on how we communicate. And this is especially how like we all grow our fire together and like get passionate together. I hate speaking of passionate, I hate so deeply that these tablets are not speaking about any of this in any way. Like, it's literally all just focused on making you lost in light and worshiping lords. And just worshiping the people who made English, basically. at this point. Because at this point, it's like you have to have a like personal relationship with these English words that like I would only know because I've spent 20 plus years developing the same relationship with them to like now have to subvert it. So this is, hey, how it goes. It's let me take a hit on that, bro. Because honestly, and I'm about to end the video here. I can't even find the lighter. That might just be the end of the video if I can't find the lighter. Oh, that's crazy. Uh-oh. Yo, we're almost done. All right. We're about to move on to this. It will be 15 in 3 minutes. I'm loopy. This is comedy. I'm in here though. Because this is important. And I'm upset. Straight up. And down and left and right and side to side. Within and without. Upset. Upset. Trying to get everyone lost in lies. Light lies. But then it's like, again, weaponized truth. We can make it work. Man is only what he believes. Fact. That's a fact. So light, man is light. Light is what it believes. So if light believes that it's light, then it's going to be lost. And now it's scared because it thinks it's the body. That's how people suffer and just get trapped in slavery constantly. Or a light can believe that it's a spirit. And now it is operating as like in spirit awareness from the light perspective. And now it's a whole different game. Or it can believe it's a soul. And that's also different too. I mean, but it's like once you know you're the soul, you kind of like have to go to spirit almost at that point. Because then you would like know the soul is really what you listen to. Because it's the emotions of your spirit. So your consciousness is your desire. Like your consciousness is like your dreams, what you're aware of. Like these are like your thoughts, your man, actually. Like what gets things done, basically. But then your woman, your man can only get things done because your woman nurtures him at home. So that's all of your emotions. So everything that you feel about your dreams is your woman. And if you don't feel good about your own dreams, about your own visions, then that means that you don't feel happy when you're alone. So then you're going to externalize yourself, create a body, and bring whatever problems you have alone into the world that you come to. And then that's where like spirits would always like bring problems to worlds because they have problems internally. And we can see that based on how we all communicate. Come into the light, my children. Walk the pathway that leads to the sun. Hearken now and listen to the wisdom. Use the word I have given you. Use it, and surely you shall find power and wisdom, and light to walk in the way. Use your spidey sense to walk. Don't use light. Use spidey sense to walk in the darkness. Honestly, Spider-Man Far From Home was very metaphysic. Like, that was a wild movie. Like, they dropped so much. I mean, the drones are insane. So, like, Bill Gates is already, like, he's so excited to have those drones up in the atmosphere. And they're, like, already pushing so hard to make him seem like Tony Stark. So they had to have Tony Stark in Far From Home have the drones in the atmosphere and give it to Peter and make that a whole story thing. But specifically, how those drones created illusions that got the whole world lost, and the only way that Spider-Man was able to live through that last final battle was because of his spider sense and his awareness of not getting lost in light of how things look, but instead how things feel. Come to the light, my children. Right. Use it and surely you shall find power. Right. Power and wisdom. Light to walk the way. Whack. All right. So that's it. Yes. Everything that I just said about Spidey sense is integral. Don't get lost in how things look, and don't get lost in how things feel. Just hold both of these in balance, knowing that you're infinitely powerful in creating your life. So then it's just about listening to your emotions way more, because the things that you don't want to see are almost always more powerful than the things you do want to see. And what I mean by that, this is like our fears, basically, like our super motivators. When you think about being comfortable versus uncomfortable, they're if you don't have a situation where you're uncomfortable, then you'll never really learn what you hate, and you won't actually motivate yourself to then be great in that way and lift that weight. So it's literally just all about that balance. We're all teaching each other. We're all leveling up, learning together. Literally, we can't learn alone. That's the point. No life, nothing can happen alone. You would just be dead. And then you're just like in your imagination. And that's just like the alone realm, which is unobservable. We're out.